so crazy. That's literally Confederate soldiers carved on the side of a mountain here in Georgia. Okay, everybody, so today we're gonna be hiking up Stone Mountain. Stone Mountain is pretty much a small little mountain right outside of Atlanta, Georgia. It's probably about 20 minutes away from me. This is a very interesting mountain. A lot of history that I'm gonna talk about later today. So here's the start of the trail. We're gonna be going up and up, and I'm gonna be taking you guys along with me. One thing I can guarantee on this hike is I am definitely going to be taking off this jacket in about 5 to 10 minutes because, I don't know, it's just one of those weathers right now where it is gorgeous, beautiful. I think it is like 59 degrees outside right now with the sun, not a cloud in the sky. So perfect weather if you're just kind of walking around, but for working out, you know, you gotta take those layers off. So yeah, it does take about, for me, 20 to 25 minutes to go up this mountain. I've done it in 35 minutes. I've done it in 20 minutes. Just really depends on what kind of workout you really want. But one of the great things about Stone Mountain is the fact that no matter how in shape you are, if you do this hike, you will get tired and you will get a workout. All right, so here is actually where the flags are being flown. Typically, there's a Confederate flag hanging from there, but I don't know why it's not flying right now. Now, I'm not complaining. All right, let's move up this mountain here and get this hike started. So I'm going straight up Stone Mountain for this hike, but they also have kind of like a loop around Stone Mountain as well that you can do. My wife and I did that once before. Funny enough, the first time we did it, it was the day I proposed to her. So we'll always have fond memories of that. But we normally just come here and hike straight up this mountain here. Again, this is a nice trail. And this whole video, you're gonna hear me breathing pretty hard because this is an actual workout. I'm not sugarcoating anything. So you're gonna be hearing other people walking around me. Oh man, I'm already out of breath. And we're only like a tenth of the way there. Whew. One of my main goals every time I walk up Stone Mountain is I want to see if I can do it without stopping. That would be a good goal for me. All right, I think I take this jacket off, guys. It's getting kind of hot. Oh my God, I can feel the sweat. Oh, my arms. Yep, again, with the weather, as soon as I take this off, I'm already feeling the cold. Let's do one of these. Old school. What do you guys know about that, huh? Old school. Let's go. So with regards to Stone Mountain, it was actually started getting built in about 1920s. And with several different architects coming in and out, it was finally completed in the 1970s. A very interesting fact I found about Stone Mountain is that the original sculptor of the carvings, his name was Glutzon Blorglum. You know, just due to some disagreements with the association who was handling the art, as you can say, of Stone Mountain. And after just a few years, he kind of removed himself from being the sculptor. So what's funny about that is that he actually went on to carve Mount Rushmore, which, let's be honest, is much cooler than this Confederate carving in Stone Mountain. So the 3 Confederate soldiers that are actually carved on the side of Stone Mountain is Robert E. Lee, Jefferson Davis, and Stonewall Jackson. And one interesting thing about Stone Mountain is the fact that it's North America's largest granite monolith. What monolith means is one stone. So pretty much Stone Mountain is just one big stone of granite. And it's the largest one in North America. So no view yet. I don't want to kind of show you guys the view until we get to the top. There's some views throughout the hike, but the best ones are, of course, at the top, where we can see different parts of Atlanta. You can just walk up this with some tennis shoes. You don't need anything crazy. It's a pretty simple hike, but you do want to wear comfortable shoes. You know, I do see people running up and down this trail, especially on the weekends. You know, you do you, boo. I am not a runner. I'll do a lot of other things that's physical, but not running. As we walk up here, I could give you some more information about the controversial Confederate flag that's always being flown at Stone Mountain. And again, today is not being flown, which is actually surprising to me. I mean, every time I've been here, I've always seen the Confederate flag. So I'll do some research here and see why it's not being flown today. Okay, well, the Confederate flags started flying in Stone Mountain around the 1950s as a protest against Brown versus Board of Education with the desegregation of schools. The reason why it's still being flown today in 2024 is because in 2001, there was a law that was passed in the state of Georgia that protected these Stone Mountain Memorial, and it did not allow people to alter the memorial in any way, and that includes removal of the Confederate flag. We're kind of at the 3/4 resting point. This is actually a area that people can just relax at because we actually just got through the easy part. The hard part is coming up here where it literally looks like a mountain and we're going straight up. Now, although there's controversy around that carving of the Confederate soldiers on Stone Mountain, there's actually a petition to add outcasts to the carving. But yeah, it's pretty much outcasts in a Cadillac, drop-top Cadillac, rolling next to the Confederate soldiers, which I thought it would be funny. By the way, there's already 17,000 people who signed that petition to add outcasts to Stone Mountain. And I'm actually going to put that link to the petition in the description below for you guys, if you guys want to sign up for it as well. All right, this is another part of Stone Mountain that I grew up knowing, which is this. See those stairs right there? Yep, there's handrails. It's very dangerous during the wet season, especially after there's rain, because as you can see, it could get pretty steep. There's a guy right here running up and down with a weighted vest. Good for you. Not for me. Not for me. All right, let's go up this. So they got a rail here for us to grab onto. I typically don't grab the rail because it's pretty dirty, but let's keep it going. This is definitely one of the hardest parts because it's straight uphill here with no steps. Oh my God. How's it going? I'll definitely turn around here at the end here just so you guys can see how steep this one section really is and why they have to put a handrail right here for all of us. Again, running out of breath. Everybody chills out after this one up here before the final end. Oh. Here we go. This is not the top, but as you can see, here's where we just were with the rails. A beautiful view of Stone Mountain, highest point in Atlanta. It's weird. I mean, growing up, I've been to Stone Mountain numerous times, but never really understood the significance of these carvings. I just thought it was just carvings of some dudes. And then when I finally put two and two together, that those are Confederate soldiers carved on the side of a mountain. This is kind of like the last part. I gotta walk all the way up here. We do have a line to follow as well. It's interesting, you see these yellow lines? These are for pedestrians. So there's actually a white line over here, and that's really more for vehicles because it's not as steep. Easier for vehicles to follow this to get all the way to the top. So technically, we can follow this one up too, one the easier walk, but I'm gonna go for the traditional route. Beautiful. I do have to say, no matter how in shape I am, it always feels good to make it to the top of Stone Mountain. Like I said before earlier, no matter what your shape is, you could be a CrossFit champion or you could be 300 pounds. Walking up this mountain in this little hike, it'll get you a workout. It'll get you sweating for sure. Another interesting fact about Stone Mountain is that not only does it have Confederate soldiers carved on the side of this mountain. Stone Mountain actually used to be a place for Klan rallies, believe it or not. And again, sorry if I'm breathing, but this is the steepest, hardest part. This is the end of it. Let's go. We got it. So we pretty much made it to the top of Stone Mountain. I'll give you guys a tour of the top here in a little bit, but right now, I always have a tradition for every time I come up to the top of Stone Mountain, I always touch this telescope here that we have. We got here in less than 30 minutes with a few breaks. Not bad. Normally, if I was by myself, not filming and purposely trying to get a workout, I would probably do this in about 22 minutes, so about 5 minutes faster than what we just did. All right, let's see what time we have. About 28 minutes, 28 and a half minutes to get to this telescope. That's what I always do. As you can see, this is called a sky lift or the sky ride. And you can actually park at the bottom and take it all the way up to the top for those of us who can't walk or make that hike. So this is another cool thing that my wife and I love doing is you see that lake down there? It actually kind of goes around Stone Mountain a little bit. And we just kayak around this little lake right here, guys. 2 ways to get in. One, you can get a day pass for $20, or you can just get yourself an annual pass for $40. And that's what me and my wife do every single year. We just get an annual pass for $40. We come here more than twice a year, so you get your money's back pretty quickly. And we mainly do this hike that I just showed you, and we also kayak, especially when the weather starts to heat up a little bit. You know, as cold as it is, as windy it is, it feels really good right now. I don't really need my Patagucci jacket on right now. I remember when I first came to Stone Mountain as a kid, I literally thought I was on the moon. Seriously, I must have been like 5, 6, or 7. I don't know how old, but I literally thought we made it to the moon because I've never been so high up before. I've never seen rocks formed like this, you know? And I'm talking about rocks like this. I'm not, you know, like this kind of rock. I know as a kid, you know, I never really seen anything like that before. You know, these kind of rocks right here. I'm glad you guys can come up along with me here. Check this out. You see how there's just so many people just kind of hanging out here at the top of Stone Mountain. Again, very, very simple hike. I'm not going to say easy because depending on who you are, it can be very difficult. You can make it as easy or hard as you want it to be. But we are right now at the top of Stone Mountain. I hope you guys can hear me with this microphone. The wind is crazy right now. I might actually have to put my jacket back on here in a little bit, but here we go. All right, we're at the top. We're looking out into Atlanta, towards Atlanta. We're looking towards Atlanta right now. And from my point of view, I can see some of the city of Atlanta right there. That's Atlanta. I believe that's Buckhead. And there we have Sandy Springs, I think. Okay, I gotta put my jacket back on. It's starting to get cold and we can head on down. Oh my God. I can't even get my jacket on. The wind's crazy. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna walk back down the trail now, and we're just gonna follow the white solid line where the vehicles need to follow, because again, these are the easier walk trails for pedestrians because it's not as steep, and pretty much if a regular vehicle or a little truck can get up this trail, then essentially a human being should be able to do the same thing. I do love walking down Stone Mountain, but I hate it because it's if you don't do it right, you can easily slip and fall, or you can mess up your knee. You know, just walking up a Stone Mountain, I just thinking about how important walking is as a human being and as a species, how we should walk a lot more. I told my wife all the time, if we were ever retired and we had like a mountain like this, or we're even close to a mountain like this in our backyard, I'll be walking up this thing like every single day, every single morning, even when I'm like 60, 70 years old, just to try to keep myself in shape. Decided to come out here last minute just mainly because, you know, I got done with my work early. It's the holiday weekend and Thanksgiving, so not really a lot of work for me to do right now. So I saw how beautiful the day was and just had to take advantage of the opportunity to come out here. Again, I could barely see any clouds in the sky. Just beautiful blue skies and sunny day today. Don't really get too many of these days here in Atlanta. It's either too cold or too hot. Mainly, it's been too hot. Sometimes on hikes, you see families, you see older people, you see kids. Always feels good when you see somebody less athletic than you make it up. And here's the very, very steep walkway up with the rails here. So we're going down now. Again, I could grab the rails if I want to, but I feel pretty safe and confident right now. Okay, so I did a little research while I was at the top there. I didn't want to talk too much up there just because of the wind. Last Memorial Day, Stone Mountain actually took down or relocated their Confederate flags ahead of Memorial Day. So they relocated a lot of their Confederate flags. I'm assuming it's because of the public. You know, they know there's going to be a bunch of people from out of town visiting, so hold off on a lot of the controversy. I guess they must have just relocated the flags for now. And honestly, that's part of what they did this week, because it is Thanksgiving week, so there's a lot of people coming in from out of town who probably have no idea about Stone Mountain. They come here with their friends or their family, just do a quick little hike, nice morning stroll, and they see a Confederate flag hanging around. That could be a pretty big culture shock to a lot of people, especially if they're not used to seeing the Confederate flags or grew up with the Confederate flags like I did. I mean, not that I have flags waving around everywhere, but it's pretty common growing up here in Georgia to see, Confederate flags randomly here and there. And plus, the Confederate flag was actually part of the Georgia state flag up until 2001. Which is a coincidence because, again, in 2001, that's when the Georgia state lawmakers passed a law that said that Stone Mountain Memorial, the carvings and the flags, cannot be altered in any way. So, very interesting, right? It's kind of like, hey, we'll take the flag out of the Georgia state flag. However, we'll allow you to continue to wave this in Stone Mountain. It is sensitive times. This is not a political channel in any stretch of imagination. But I just wanted to call this to y'all's attention. I'm sure there's people out there who never been to Georgia, never really thought about Atlanta. But yeah, here in Georgia, there's a mountain or a granite monolith that has 3 Confederate soldiers carved on the side of it. And the same mountain has the Confederate flags flying all year round. I love coming up to Stone Mountain just mainly because, it is a very short drive for me and you get a pretty decent workout. You get to be outside in nature. And I know it's not free, but, we already got the annual pass for $40. Why not use it on such a beautiful day like today? So yeah, Stone Mountain has their own train that goes around the park. How's it going? Is it clear to go through? Or? Okay, cool, thanks. Yeah, here's the train tracks here, you can see. Here's the train tracks. I remember as a kid getting pennies and putting the pennies right down here on the tracks. I just remember as a kid, we would always grab coins and put them on the train tracks, let the train run it over and flatten out the pennies, which was pretty cool as a kid, I think there actually used to be some machines here where you can actually put a penny in and it'll stretch it out and kind of imprint Stone Mountain and everything in it as well. So here we are, Stone Mountain. You can see them all, the 3 Confederates.